And now,
It's
another
time
episode.
for the horror guys, plural.
Kevin has been released from his decantation.
Yeah.
The clone has grown.
Yeah, I'm feeling much better now. I tell you, interdimensional doorways are nothing to mess around with. Just don't. They're hardly any fun.
The trick is programming the memories back in.
Yeah.
He thinks he's Kevin. He thinks he's done these horror shows. In fact,
I'm
he used to do a show about gardening for like 300 episodes, but now I'm telling him he's done a horror show.
Oh, okay.
Play along with me, everybody.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, we're back for episode 290.
Of the episodes you think you've done.
I think I am.
Implanted memories are always fun.
Awesome.
Well, it's been 3 years since we did our last Shark Week. Episode 5 of Horror Bulletin Monthly had the shark on the cover.
And there's all these good scientific documentaries out there and fact-based movies that we thought we should do another set of them.
Yeah, it was high tide to do another set.
Yes, it was.
But this time, there's a twist. They're all horror comedies.
No.
What do we got?
These aren't serious movies? Well, we start out with Sharktopus, which is exactly what it sounds like. There's a shark-octopus hybrid. And that was so good that they made a sequel, Sharktopus versus Pteracuda. And Sharktopus versus Whalewolf. These movies, yeah, I tell you, yeah. And then mixing up the Universal-themed monsters, we get Sharkula and Sharkenstein.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And to top it all off, we have a science fiction gem called Shark Side of the Moon. See, we watch these movies so you don't have to, but we'll tell you a little bit about them.
I didn't absolutely hate any of these movies.
I absolutely hated a couple of them. Well, okay, not absolutely hated, but yeah, there were definitely preferences.
Oh, yeah, some are better than others.
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
None of these are what you call, Academy Award winners.
No. But, they told a story, and, they were entertaining.
They were.
If you're looking for entertainment, this is, yeah.
And, of course, if you want to pick up all of last month's reviews, check out Horror Bulletin issue number 34, available now at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and all the places you buy books. Go to where's the easiest place? HorrorGuysShop.com. Follow the links from there. Yeah.
Wherever fine ebooks are sold.
Or paperbacks. It's either way. You can get it all any way you want it.
That way, yeah.
Well, we're going to start out with the earliest one on the list today, 2010's Sharktopus. Directed by Declan O'Brien, written by Mike McLean and Steve Niver, stars Eric Roberts, Karim Burson, and Sarah Malakul Lane. Hour and 29 minutes.
Okay. Hour and 29 minutes.
I think this was made for sci-fi, but I'm not sure. I know the sequels were.
And it's also a Roger Corman Presents production.
And he actually shows up in this one.
He does, yeah. He has fun with these things, I think. That he did.
The dumber they are, the happier he is.
Yeah. Well, and he knows he can throw them together and they'll make some money and they'll be, at least entertaining.
On that topic, we've got the Horror Guy's Guide to the Films of Roger Corman is available.
He did a lot of stuff.
HorrorGuys.com/books.
He was prodigious.
Yeah, we got the Horror Guy's Guide to the Films of Roger Corman. It goes through every single movie that he directed, horror or otherwise. Directed, not produced. And he did a lot of stuff. He did those Vincent Price movies in the 60s, and he did a lot of alien invasion kind of stuff in the 50s. And he's still working. He just died a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was working up till the end.
Yeah. And if you go over to OurLongPress.com, there's a full-on biography of Roger Corman there, yes.
Nice.
You can learn about him with one book or his movies with the other. So, yeah, we've covered him pretty thoroughly. Well, what's this movie about?
Well, you have to just let yourself go and think of this one as silly entertainment and enjoy it. When a shark isn't scary enough, add some tentacles, and you've got another level. And this was well made for what it is, with some low-level CGI. We thought it was a pretty fun watch overall, though.
I will say the CGI from 2010 looks like CGI from 1990. It's not well done.
It's not.
I don't think it was even well done for the time.
No. It's pretty obvious CGI.
Well, we open on a bright sunny day at Santa Monica Beach as the credits roll. One girl goes for a swim as her friend remains behind to play on her phone. Soon, a shark fin appears and chases Bree. Just as about to bite her, giant tentacles reach up and kill the shark.
That wasn't the shark you
That
expected.
wasn't the one, no.
Yeah, but that shark is here now.
And this creature looks like half a shark, but it has tentacles too, and some kind of electronic control device on it.
So it's a good guy shark.
Yay!
It saved the girl.
Well, we cut to a control room where Nathan Sand shows Commodore Cox footage of the whole incident. Nathan's daughter, Nicole, explains that S-11 is completely under their control, a new weapon for the U.S. Navy. Well, they recall S-11, but it's on an intercept course for another vessel. The commander wants the S-11 to pursue the little motorboat as a test.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Well, if something goes wrong by chasing this little motorboat, how good's it going to be in a combat situation?
Well, yeah, but these are civilians in this motorboat. You don't want to be testing it out on just
yeah.
innocent people that have no idea.
Well, the speedboat does something unexpected, and it knocks the control collar off the S-11. The Sharktopus stops responding and is now uncontrollable. This could be bad.
It could be.
Well, the Sharktopus is heading to Mexico, so they track it to Puerto Vallarta. Nathan and Nicole go as well. Santos recommends that they call in Andy Flynn to help, a guy that Nathan fired for being too greedy.
So we're setting up the characters.
Nathan tells Andy that he needs S-11 captured, not killed. Stacy, an investigative reporter, tracks down Pez about a photo he took of the Sharktopus. Meanwhile, a couple goes bungee jumping over the ocean. It's like dangling bait over the aquarium as the Sharktopus leaps up and grabs the girl, who just happened to be played by Corman's daughter, Mary.
Nom, 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 nom.
A pirate radio station reports that the Sharktopus is in the area. He suggests that someone might be filming a low-budget horror movie.
Well,
He could be right.
It's a movie within a movie.
Pez takes Spacey to where he saw the creature, and they soon see it again. The creature attacks a bunch of people on the beach and causes a stampede. Stacy reports this on the news, so now everyone knows about it. Pez thinks he can track the creature from the previous movements.
It's moving along the coast.
Yeah.
In a predictable pattern.
Andy confronts Nicole about what she's hiding. Sharks aren't serial killers. Could they have genetically modified the creature to make it more vicious? Andy and his men dive where they think the creature is, and it fights back, eating everyone but him. Andy gets a big gash on his leg, but Santos patches him up.
And he really didn't seem too upset about that.
Did he lost all his guys, or that he got bit?
Both. He shook it off pretty well.
He's tough.
Yeah.
Nathan tells Nicole that he enhanced its aggressiveness to make it a killer for the military. Andy and Nicole run into Pez and Stacy's boat. Pez is eaten by the shark before Andy shoots at it, running it off. Sharktopus then attacks Bob and Ed, a couple of jet skiers, before heading for another beach. And they're like, Bob, look out. Ed, look out. And these guys just had their names made up on the spot.
Yep.
It's Bob and Ed.
Bob and Ed.
Stacy figures out that Blue Water is behind the creature, a shady genetic engineering firm with government contracts. The creature then eats the pirate radio guy, even as he makes fun of it on the radio.
Everybody's getting eaten in this movie.
After a few more random attacks, Commander Cox wants to bring in a team to kill the Sharktopus, but Nathan still wants it captured alive. The creature then attacks the main resort in Puerto Vallarta, and that's kind of crazy. Andy shoots at it, but it appears to be bulletproof.
Yeah, it has appeared to be bulletproof all this time. Every time they shoot it, and they say, yep, well, there's no wounds or anything, but they keep shooting it.
Nathan shows his true colors as he confronts Andy, but Nicole takes Andy's side. Suddenly, the Sharktopus attacks all of them, and Nathan's goons are all killed. When it grabs Nicole, Nathan jumps in, and it kills him instead. The Sharktopus arrives at another resort and starts eating people and jumping for people riding on the zip lines. It likes to jump for its food. It's like a, SeaWorld attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole tells Andy that the creature's kill switch might still be working, but they have to get close to it. Meanwhile, Stacy and her cameraman meet an unfortunate end. We're running out of characters pretty quick. This movie's about over.
We are, so the end is near.
Andy tranquilizes the monster and keeps it busy as Nicole tries to hack the kill switch on her computer. It's all very tense until she guesses the password, and the shark's brain explodes.
All right.
We're not going to see that Sharktopus again.
Nope, we don't.
Well,
Yeah.
the dialogue from most of the characters is just awful. It's all bright and pretty and looks really good. The cameraman was great until someone opens their mouth to speak.
Well, and it's impressive too. I mean, even the script was not great, but then you take an actor like Eric Roberts, who's super experienced, and even he, can show up and take a script like this, and you can tell that he's an experienced actor. There is a difference.
He's like the only one who's actually acting here.
Yeah, and there is a difference of somebody who's really experienced, and it's not a great script, but he can take it, and he worked with it,
and we've picked on Eric Roberts before for his bad acting in some of these indie movies. This one, he was probably the best thing about it.
He was the bright spot in it.
He's got like 700 movie credits.
Oh, he
absurd. Literally will work for a bag of potato chips or something.
He loves the work, and I think somebody comes to say, will you be in? And he says yes before they finish the title.
I think, excluding soap opera actors, he may have the highest IMDb credits of anybody I've ever seen.
He's way up there.
He's way up there.
Yeah.
All right, well, anyway, the CGI here is really dated, if it ever looked good in the first place. Seeing the shark crawling around on the beach with tentacles is that's just special.
Yeah, it was.
There are lots of shirtless guys and girls in tight bikinis, and even a funny cameo by Roger Corman himself.
Roger Corman likes to put in supple young flesh.
He does. That's kind of his thing.
He knows what appeals to people, and that appeals to him too, and apparently.
The cameo with Corman, he's watching around and he watched some girl find some gold on the beach, a gold coin.
And
she gets eaten by the shark.
She's bikini clad, of course.
Yes. Yeah. She gets eaten by the shark. He goes over and picks up the coin, bites it, and smiles because he is so cheap in real life. It's an in-joke about how cheap he is. He don't care about the girls. He just wants that gold.
Yeah.
Still, this was intended to be cheap and cheesy, and they aren't trying to win any awards here. It's well filmed, and this non-CGI bits all look good. It's not like one of those cheap indie films. It looks good. It's well made.
Uh-huh.
The concept itself is what saves the film. What could be scarier than a shark with tentacles? Well, keep in mind that as bad as it was, it still managed to spawn 2 sequels. If you just leave your brain at the door and go along with it, it is just silly fun.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was all right.
Yep.
You're not going to get any surprises here. It's not going to win any awards, but it's good. It's all right.
It entertained me. Yeah.
Well, what's next?
They made a sequel. But
No.
how can they? The Sharktopus was blown up. Sharktopus versus Pteracuda.
Directed by Kevin O'Neill, written by Matt Yamashita, stars Rob Hillis, Robert Carradine, and Katie Savoy. Hour and 28 minutes. Trailer in the show notes. You should totally watch the trailers before you watch the movies on these.
Uh-huh.
Let you see just what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler-free, despite the definitive death of Sharktopus in the first movie, they find a way to make a sequel. And actually, I kind of guess that this is how they would do it because they did leave a little opening in the first movie.
Yeah, a little.
This one is a step above the first one, with slightly better everything and clearly a bigger budget. The CGI is still blatantly CGI, looking cartoonish at times, but it gets the story told. What's better than one giant genetically modified creature?
2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought it was entertaining.
Of the week, this was my favorite.
Really?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, it was.
Really?
Yeah. Thought it was the best made, the best characters, the best. Yeah.
I like the third one better. I like the Whalewolf.
Oh, okay.
It was more straight up comedy, and I thought it was just better.
That one was definitely. They tried to be serious.
They were
still
trying to be funny in the third one.
In this one, they were trying to be serious.
Well,
and
sorta.
they mostly pulled it off. Yeah.
What happens?
Well, we get some flashbacks to the previous film's best kills. As the Sharktopus's head and body explodes, we see an egg sac float away from the body.
And they've enhanced it a little bit in this
that's
one,
how
but
they
we
did
saw
it.
that in the first movie, too.
There was a hint of it. Well, we cut to a fishing boat where Lorena pulls up the egg sac. She cuts it open, and there's a teeny little Sharktopus inside.
It's like a little goldfish-sized thing.
It's so cute. And it's snarling at her, like, rawr, rawr, and she's holding it between 2 fingers. Yeah. Well, elsewhere, Dr. Rico Symes and his team have developed a flying monster called a Pteracuda, a cross between a barracuda and a pterodactyl.
Because if you're going to make a half-breed, those are the things you're going to think of.
Oh, yeah. Go with, the most fierce creatures that you can think of. And, yeah, what could go wrong? Yeah. Well, the government was afraid of it, so he paid for it and built it himself. And as he brags about how much it's going to be worth, the creature escapes and refuses to come back to the base.
Didn't see that coming.
Except then it does come back to the base and kills one of the technicians rather dramatically. But he's like, yeah, well, can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. he's kind of cold-hearted about this. Well, Hamilton, Rico's head of security, goes after the monster in a helicopter with a team, and it turns out to be bulletproof. Rico says the control devices are still working just fine, but someone else is in control. They've been hacked. Well, the helicopter crashes into the ocean, and they learn that the creature can swim as well as fly.
Barracuda.
And he loses his entire team. Well, we cut to Mondo del Mar, an ocean resort, which advertises, coming soon, Sharktopus.
Uh-oh.
It's like a SeaWorld kind of thing, and they have the Sharktopus has grown up. Well, they reveal their new attraction, which Lorena is training. The baby creature has gotten a lot bigger, but the resort owner has been sedating the shark monster to keep it under control. It's still pretty wild. It's instinctively angry and hungry, and not
It's
good.
a Sharktopus.
Yeah. Well, she talks to Rick about the creature's aggressive tendencies. She demonstrates how smart the Sharktopus is. Some guests complain to the manager that they aren't able to see the advertised Sharktopus, so he takes them to see it, and that goes badly. Well, Hamilton takes it back to Rico, who explains that whoever was controlling the Pteracuda has stopped. They watch the tourist footage of the Sharktopus on the news, and Rico knows all about the S-11 project. He suddenly gets an idea. He wants to hire Sharktopus to fight the Pteracuda. Hamilton injects the Sharktopus with a mind-controlling device, and Lorena freaks out. Well, a group of wreck divers go down with their diving gear. They don't know that both giant monsters are nearby. The two soon start fighting, and it's an inconclusive battle.
Nobody wins.
It's a tie. Lorena calls Rick, the head lifeguard, to shut down the beach before more people are killed. We cut to Conan O'Brien on the beach, who's in a full suit with an ascot.
As one does.
He hears about the Sharktopus and laughs at it. He does the "do you know who I am" thing until the Sharktopus bites his head off.
Talk about your needless cameos.
But funny. Yeah. On the beach, a kid plays with a Sharktopus kite until the Pteracuda attacks, causing mayhem on the beach. Meanwhile, Vladimir, the Russian agent who stole the Pteracuda's controls, gets things working again and attacks the airplane. He was working in the lab and he hacked into it. He had the access codes and everything. Well, soon Pteracuda and Sharktopus encounter each other again, with Sharktopus getting his control collar bitten off, and so now there are two monsters on the loose. Rico is looking for someone to blame this all on, so he kidnaps Lorena. Maybe she can get Sharktopus to behave. Lorena tells Rick about the monsters, and he's almost immediately beheaded.
Not going to help much.
That surprised me.
He looked like the leading man type.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to buy it so soon. Yeah. She figures that Sharktopus is headed for the canals that go right through the town to the aquarium. Rico says that Vladimir has ordered Pteracuda to attack a nuclear power plant to make it melt down.
It's going to swim in through the exhaust pipes where the water goes out and get inside the nuclear power plant and blow it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it works like that.
That's not how nuclear power plants work, but it does in the movies. Yeah. Lorena and Hamilton track down Vladimir somehow and regain control of the Pteracuda. A new report announces that Rico is wanted for questioning in the whole ordeal. Vladimir makes a run for it, so they all head outside to pursue him. And the Pteracuda gets him first. That was a satisfying one. The Sharktopus comes for Lorena before fighting his winged adversary again. Hamilton uses Rico as bait for the creatures, and soon the Pteracuda comes for him. The two that was kind of a gruesome one. The two creatures kind of like tug-of-war, and they each get a piece. Lorena reads Rico's notes and figures out that the Pteracuda is starving and has to eat constantly to stay alive. Its metabolism is just out of control. She thinks they can use that to lure it in and kill it with a disco ball.
It likes shiny things.
It likes bright, shiny things. Yeah, it's attracted to them. Lorena falls overboard, and Sharktopus comes to her rescue to fight the Pteracuda. Meanwhile, Hamilton shoots the Pteracuda with his spear gun. Hamilton and Lorena speed off in their boat as the explosives in the harpoon go off, killing both monstrosities. Oh, no, we see that the Sharktopus survived.
Yeah, never see him again.
It only got the Pteracuda.
Well, the dialogue and acting here are still campy, but they're also miles ahead of the first film. It obviously had a much higher budget due to the popularity of the first movie. Then again, it's got people playing volleyball with Conan O'Brien's head, so it's probably not meant to be taken too seriously.
Not too much.
Well, the recent Godzilla movies show us what good CGI can mean for a monster versus monster film. This is not that film. The creatures are a half step above cartoons, but the visual quality isn't the point. It's still hokey and dumb, but it's much better made than the first one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we liked it. All right, now for something good, right?
Yeah,
Sharktopus versus Werewolf, 2015. No,
Whalewolf.
Whalewolf. I'm going to say that wrong 18 times. I know it. It's a whale wolf.
Whalewolf, yeah.
Half whale, half wolf.
Because the Sharktopus survived, they had to make another movie.
Directed by Kevin O'Neill, written by Matt Yamashita, stars Casper Van Dien, Catherine Oxenberg, and Jennifer Wenger. Hour and 25 minutes trailer in the show notes. This one was a step down. You think? I thought this was a step up. I like this one better.
Oh, okay.
I can tell who wrote which part here.
Yeah. I wrote the spoiler-free judgment zone.
Well, what's it say?
That says this was a step down from the previous sequel, but a half step above the original. This one emphasized the humor a lot more than the first two movies, and that boosts the watchability. It's silly and dumb, but it's fun in an entertaining way.
Yeah, the first one was cheesy and dumb. The second one was cheesy and dumb. This one was just comedy. And I thought it was a well-made comedy. I liked it.
Okay. I laughed.
As a horror movie, it's terrible. It's stupid. But
there were chuckles. I was amused.
We open on a burial at sea. Ray, well, they're trying a little too hard in some cases.
Yeah, forcing it. But,
the main characters are drunk all the time, and they're just, it's dumb.
Casper Van Dien's character drinks heavily.
Yes.
Yeah.
We open on a burial at sea. Ray Brady wonders why this is all happening on his boat. Pablo rented out the boat for a funeral, and Ray makes a big scene. Suddenly, Sharktopus attacks the boat and steals the body, coffin and all. Tell me they prepaid, asks Ray before he adds arrested for manslaughter. So we're not going to be too serious here.
No, we're not.
Inspector Nita Morales talks to Ray about getting out of jail. This time you're on your own, when he describes what attacked their boat. Meanwhile, at the Reinhardt Anti-Aging Clinic, Dr. Elsa Reinhardt works on gene sequencing to make Felix Rosa, an aging ball player, able to play again.
And she is just the most over-the-top German mad scientist.
She's a Nazi mad scientist without the Nazi bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
A modern German mad scientist.
We have the very worst German accent.
She's pretty over the top.
It's pretty bad.
And amusing, though. Yeah.
Well, she warns that there may be a few side effects. She takes him to her secret lab, and it's big and something. It's something there.
Yeah, it's a lab. Yeah.
She talks about the speed and power of wolves, and then throws the switch. Well, later on, Inspector Nita watches two drunk women attacked on the sidewalk by the Sharktopus. It's still out there.
It's still out there.
Pablo bails out Ray with the help of Chief Tiny, a voodoo priest. He wants to know about the creature, and he knows all about Sharktopus, who even has a Twitter account now. Who posts on the Sharktopus account, do you suppose?
Well, just some fan.
He wants the Sharktopus's heart for the voodoo stuff before noon tomorrow.
And he's funny. He's a comical character for sure. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Elsa turns Felix into a corpse because the experiment fails badly. She dumps his body in the ocean to get rid of it, but as his body sinks, it starts to change. He growls and takes a bite out of her, which she likes. Oh, bite me again, in bad German accent.
Mm-hmm.
His human DNA is rapidly disintegrating, and this might have something to do with moonlight.
Because science.
Because Whalewolf.
Because wolves and whales, orca, and yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Moonlight.
In the morning, Nita joins Ray and Pablo to hunt the tentacled shark monster. At the Reinhardt Institute, Elsa brags to Nurse Betty about her success last night. Then Felix, who has turned into a full-on whale wolf, kills the nurse. Ray finds and tags the Sharktopus, which fights back. The whale wolf, on shore, sees the action and comes to play. The two creatures fight as Ray tries to keep Pablo from molesting the unconscious Nita. They stop and watch a relationship reality show that's filming right here in town.
'Cause why not?
Meanwhile, on the actual show that's being filmed, it's kind of a bachelor-type show where the guy tries to pick out his girlfriends, at least until the shark shows up and eats the contestants. Dr. Elsa scolds the whale wolf, calling him a failure. Bad dog. She tries to train him like a dog to pee on a pad, which he also refuses to do. The whale wolf pees everywhere.
And then she decides, you are going to be an outdoor pet.
Not far away, Sharktopus eats some gang members just as the whale wolf arrives on the scene. This results in another ridiculous CGI monster battle. Pablo and Ray make plans to leave the country, but Chief Tiny does some voodoo to convince them not to try.
Voodoo dolls.
The reality show starts shooting a new scene, while the bachelor has to pick a date from the surviving women.
I would totally watch that dating show if there was a dating show like that.
It'd be like Survivor, where some people don't.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whale wolf kills the director and the other women contestants as well. This guy is doomed to be single forever.
Yeah, I guess so. Darn it.
Nita looks up Sharktopus online, but can't find much on the whale wolf. But she does get a lead that points to Dr. Elsa, who used to work for Blue Water, the lab that created Sharktopus. At the lab, Dr. Elsa calls the Humane Society to give up her dog. Whale wolf catches on and kills her. Yeah, what do you think the Humane Society is going to do when they come and see that thing?
They're going to say nope and turn around.
Yeah.
And leave.
When Nita and her partner arrive at the lab, they find the wolf. Ray takes Chief Tiny a piece of tentacle, which mostly pacifies him. There's a whole thing about cockfighting and Tiny's big, tough cock. This joke goes on for like 3 minutes.
But it's totally worth it. It's really funny.
Ray and Pablo get a call from Nita, who's pinned down by the whale wolf. She's been bitten, but they get her away. A couple of people get bitten by this whale wolf.
And I thought that was going to go somewhere.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
It's not contagious. No.
There's a quick car chase that leads the whale wolf to the dock, where Sharktopus awaits. The two enemies go at it once again in the town square. Wow. Nita has Elsa's laptop and reads through her records. They know Felix Rosa was involved and may even be the whale wolf. Ray suggests that Chief Tiny might be able to use his voodoo to control Sharktopus. Oh, that's something they haven't done before.
No, it's different.
Tiny already has a Sharktopus voodoo doll already made. He sends his goons to kill Ray, but Ray has stolen the shark doll. Ray uses his Kung Fu Ninja Juju skills against the goons and gets away.
It works.
And he keeps talking about his Kung Fu Ninja Juju skills, and he's actually got them.
He actually has them, yeah.
Nita and Pablo go to the baseball stadium and rig up a net for the monsters. Meanwhile, Ray and Sharktopus shake hands and become buddies, sorta. He's like, "Where am I?" And Sharktopus taps on the map. "You are here."
You are here.
Sharktopus chases Ray through the mall toward the baseball stadium, where Whale Wolf awaits. I haven't said it wrong yet. Whale Wolf.
Whale wolf.
Nita calls in an airstrike from the Air Force, and they get right on that. Because,
you can do that.
If a detective calls the Air Force for an airstrike, you're going to get 5 jet engines.
Civilians can do it too. I did it a few weeks ago.
Called in an airstrike?
Yeah, you call up their hotline and say, you need an airstrike. And, yeah.
Plus, this is in Mexico somewhere too. So, whose Air Force did she call?
Oh yeah. This isn't the United States.
No, it's not.
Oh. See, it was the U.S. Air Force.
Maybe it is in this one. I know the other one was Mexico.
They don't really say where that's right. We're back in the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the Air Force comes and Pablo electrifies the fence to contain the monsters. Sharktopus gets electrocuted, and Whale Wolf gets blown up in the airstrike. Ray and Nita kiss as Pablo plays music in the stadium. We then cut to Chief Tiny's sister, who is doing something all voodoo-y with a Sharktopus tentacle. Well, there's some real-life drama going on with this one, too. Casper Van Dien divorced Catherine Oxenberg during the filming of the movie. The Dr. Elsa and the main guy were married, and they got divorced, so he could be with the woman who played Nurse Betty.
Oh, my.
That was an awkward scene, I bet.
Yeah. Awkward.
Nurse Betty didn't have that many scenes, so it must have been fairly early in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine Oxenberg's German Sand is 200% pure evil Nazi scientists, but it's really awful.
Well, it's over the top.
Yeah. The whole thing leads far more into pure comedy side of things than the first two movies. And with this in mind, it looks good and has good dialogue and acting. It's all completely one big in-joke, and it's well done. It's definitely not a great movie, but it's well made and funny in places. And of the three, that's my favorite.
Well, this one gave me the most laughs.
Yeah, just because it embraced the comedy and didn't try to be a horror movie.
Yeah, yeah. So this one's top for humor.
No, actually, the one that's top for humor is up next.
The short film, Gwilliam.
Gwilliam.
Oh, my gosh. This is one you have to check out.
This is one you need to get your grandma to watch.
Oh, my. Maybe not.
Directed by Brian Lonano, written by Victoria Cook, Brian Lonano, and Kevin Donald Lonano. Stars William Tokarski, Paul Painter, and Blair Bathory. 5 minutes and 37 seconds, and there's a link to watch it in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is... I don't know if this is the best short we've seen this year, but this may be the funniest. What happens?
Well, a prisoner is being released from prison today, and one of his jailmates recommends this local bar where it's the best, and he does end up in the local bar where he admires the women and he reads some graffiti. For a good time, go out back, which he promptly does. And he does not have a good time, or does he have a good time?
And that's all you can say with this one.
Yeah. One of the quotes from it, you can forget your sins, but you can never forget your Gwilliam.
I will never forget Gwilliam.
Yeah. This is not what either of us were expecting, and it's seriously messed up and very well done.
Yeah, there's very little we can say about this one without giving it all away. But, yeah, wow.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this one's a gem. A gem of something.
Oh, speaking of gems,
Uh-huh.
2016's Sharkenstein.
Oh, yeah.
Directed by Mark Polonia. And if you look at Mark Polonia's other works, he's done like 100 of these cheapy independent movies, and about half of them are related to sharks.
He's obsessed.
He's either obsessed or he's figured out how to do it. He's got his niche.
He must, they must keep, giving him pleasure and making money, I guess.
They must be making enough money to pay for themselves.
Enough to keep it going, yeah.
But, yeah, you look at his movies, he's got a lot of the same cast people over and over and over. They're the same type. These are like the movies that cost $8 to make and make 15. So, so they're very low budget.
Well,
you said community theater.
Yeah, I was just going to add that. The look of it, and this isn't not necessarily a bad thing, because
these are very cheap, low budget movies.
I have seen many community theater productions that are very entertaining and tell the story, get the job done. But I thought, this is a community theater production. It looks like it. It has that look to it. If you've seen community theater and then you see this, I bet you'll say, "Hey, that's community theater." Yeah, just the sets and the lighting and
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, directed by Mark Polonia, written by J.K. Farlow, stars Greta Volkova, Ken Van Sant, and Titus Himmelberger. Hour and 25 minutes. Trailer in the show notes, and you definitely want to see the trailer before you watch this one.
You should see the trailer.
Yeah. Spoiler free.
Spoiler free. Go ahead.
This was a very low budget production, and it does show. I mean, it looks like everyone's having a good time here, and they tell a story with the tools that they have available. So it isn't all bad. A story was told, a pretty wild one, and it kept us watching. There's low-budget indie movies that just look like crap because it seems like they're very poorly made. Mm-hmm. And then there's like this one that it looks like crap, but it's well done. It was still entertaining.
Well, I think that's the director's experience. He knows how to get the most of what he's got to work with.
It's a good bad movie.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of entertained me. It was a weird story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's cringy at parts.
Well, we open on the Frankenstein monster lumbering around in a rainstorm. Its heart and brain are indestructible, but its body has been destroyed and rebuilt many times. And it's 1942, and a German submarine resurfaces. Nearby is a laboratory where we see there's a very special heart and brain in the lab. We found the monster, the Germans have, and they want it for their military efforts. They take the organs and go back to the sub. And credits roll.
See, now I figured the sub was going to be attacked and a shark was going to eat the brain and the heart, and that was where it was going to go.
That's what I was
not
expecting.
What happened.
No, it's more complicated than that. Yeah. In the modern day, we open on Duke Lawson, who is looking for missing boaters. We get a weird point of view shot where we see a really scarred up shark eat a girl on the beach.
Oh boy, this first attack.
Mm-hmm.
She's standing there on the beach, and suddenly this big puppet shark comes across the screen, and she disappears. And a splash of blood.
Yep.
Yeah. Sesame Street could do it better. But we're telling a story here.
Well, Madge yells at Coop that he shouldn't be playing on his phone during vacation. Skip isn't really into the whole trip either. Catsman Cove, where they're headed, is reported to have had several cases of missing persons in the area. They pass a man on the road just moments before, and he too is shark food. Duke talks to a fisherman about something that's been attacking and eating the local sharks.
What eats sharks?
What eats sharks? Huh. Well, meanwhile, at a mad scientist lab, Klaus, the mad scientist, orders the shark to return home. He has the heart and brain on his desk, and they're wired into something, keeping them alive. Well, they just stay alive by themselves anyway. Well, Madge, Skip, and Coop get to the dock and meet up with the guy who owns the boat. He's weird and doesn't speak, but what could go wrong with a little boat out on the ocean?
He's like, I'll be in your movie, but I don't want to talk.
Yeah, maybe that was the case, yeah. Well, they all go out, and they have a surprisingly good time with the mute boat driver. Until Duke pulls up in his boat, and he warns them about the local trouble, tells them they must get back to shore for safety. Well, Duke calls in divers to search the waters for some of the missing people or sharks or whatever they find, and the shark finds and eats many of them. This was some pretty good underwater photography. It was not bad.
Think maybe it was stock footage?
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it was decent though. Yeah. Well, much to Klaus's sadistic glee, he's watching. The shark then goes to a crowded beach and eats another girl before returning to home base. The shark runs into Midge and the guy's boat, breaking the propeller. The guys decide to swim to a nearby island, and Midge reluctantly follows them. They explore the island, which, of course, is where Klaus lives in his secret lab. They see the shark monster just before Klaus shows up with his gun, and Klaus explains the whole thing. Probably because he was eager to tell somebody he's there all alone. And you know how it is with mad scientists. They're all gleeful. This is my plan.
Finally, someone I can gloat to.
Yes. He's got Frankenstein's brain controlling the shark now. He's also got Hitler's brain, but that's a project for another day. Well, meanwhile, Duke realizes that the boat hasn't come back to the marina, and he goes looking for them. Klaus operates the shark and implants the heart and brain into it. Okay, I guess he didn't actually have the brain in there. It was like
I think that's what the wires
electronically.
was.
Yeah,
you said life support. No, I don't think that was it.
It was transmitting, and now it's actually inside the shark. Yeah. And all the guests are there watching, and of course he exclaims,
"It's alive!"
There we go.
Because you have to do that in a Frankenstein movie.
You do. Well, he tries to get the shark to obey. He orders Sharkenstein to kill the kid's mute boat driver, which it does. But the monster gets annoyed by Klaus and eats him.
I was getting a little annoyed with him, too.
Yeah. Well, the shark knocks the whole house into the ocean and then eats Skip. Madge and Coop swim out to Duke's boat. They tell Duke all about it, and he amazingly believes them.
Oh, Frankenstein and the shark. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah. Well, the shark comes after them and follows them up onto the dock. And lightning strikes the shark, and it gets even stronger, standing up on two legs now.
Well, okay then.
It's evolving. Duke pulls a torch out of somewhere and drives it off.
Where'd he get that torch?
Suddenly he has a torch in his hand. The shark then crosses land, stalking cows in the field. Sharkenstein kills Coop in the woods, and Duke and Madge miss the whole thing. Well, the locals, the peasants, are revolting. They grab their axes and guns and stalk off into the woods.
I didn't see any pitchforks or torches, but
No,
okay.
no,
You know what they are. You know what this is.
Kind of modernized, yeah. They're looking for the monster. Madge gives Duke a recitation about all the Frankenstein movies.
She knows them better than we do, probably.
Yeah, she's good. Duke and Madge go to an old lighthouse, and Duke says they store explosives inside. That's handy. They wire up the explosives and wait for the monster. Duke lures the monster there by cutting himself because sharks can smell blood miles away. Madge hides as Duke leads the giant man-like shark into the lighthouse. The villagers set the place on fire with Duke and the monster inside. Duke and the shark come out onto the roof, and he tells them to start shooting, and everything explodes. Could this be the end of Sharkenstein? Well, Madge knows the heart and brain can never be destroyed.
Waiting for Sharkenstein, too.
It could be.
Well, they had a budget of probably $11 for special effects here, and they really stretched it. Still, it tells the story, so it's good enough. The shark is clearly a puppet, but it's kind of a cool puppet. It's even got bolts on its neck. There are just too many plot holes to even start a list, so we're going to let that one slide.
Yeah, just don't go there. Yeah.
It's a no-budget film put together probably just mostly for fun. At least that's what I hope they did it for. And it's actually pretty good if you take it for that. If you're looking for quality on a great quality on a level of Sharktopus, you might want to keep looking. And Kevin adds that when he sees a production like this, he hopes the folks involved keep working on other projects, getting better and more experienced as they go. They have the fundamental idea down, tell the story, and keep the audiences interested.
Yeah, it's a cardinal sin when the movie bores me, or they fail to tell a story. Which happens sometimes with indie movies.
Sometimes it happens with the big budget movies.
It does, yeah. It can happen with any movie, yeah. But
we finally saw Furiosa, by the way. That's why
yeah.
I mentioned being bored by a big budget movie.
Boy, that's a yacky movie.
Yeah, that is such a big turnaround from the previous film.
They really needed to compress that down, and the action was good. Like Fury Road was.
The action was not
one.
as good. We'll get to that next week.
But yeah, the action was not as good. But yeah, it was long and draggy. Yeah.
You know what's next?
Sharkula.
You can't say it like that. There's a theme song. Sharkula, Sharkula. They say it over and over and over as the theme music goes on.
Yeah, they do.
And I can't stop hearing it now.
Sharkula.
2022's Sharkula, directed and written by Mark Polonia. Again,
He's
obsessing
back.
with sharks.
Uh-huh.
Stars James Kelly, Tim Hatch, and Jeff Kirkendall. 1 hour and 11 minutes. Trailer in the show
it's a
notes.
short one.
This is a short one, which is why we watched it.
Yeah. Spoiler free, the premise is as silly as it sounds, yet it's kind of awesome at the same time. And what's worse than a shark? A vampire shark, of course. It's low budget again, but they tell a story and kept us watching, so the basic needs were met.
This is made by the same people as the Sharkenstein.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar. If you hated one, you're going to hate them both. If you like the one, you're going to like them both.
Yeah, pretty much.
I would say this one is a little bit better done because it's newer.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we watch as an angry mob chases Dracula through the fields in a blurry flashback. They corner him at the edge of a cliff and stab him. He falls into the ocean below and is bitten by a shark.
Uh-oh.
We're told dark forces conspired to keep Dracula alive. As credits roll, along with a not quite so good but still catchy theme song.
Sharkula.
Shark. Watch the trailer, you'll get the song.
Uh-huh.
In the modern day, Arthur and John read a letter that says they have been hired for a new summer job. They go to the Bucket O' Chum Inn and immediately notice that there's no one in town.
Hardly anyone.
Mr. Renfield checks them in, and he runs the place for Mr. Vlad Constantine, who outruns the place. Renfield mentions that there's an 8 p.m. curfew in town. I mean, Renfield is a weird character always, but this actor, I don't know.
He notched it up a bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he did a good job or not.
I think he did. He's very weird. He was a bright spot.
He's weird. We soon see that Renfield has a woman chained in the basement, and he talks to a coffin down there too.
Well, I wonder who's in the coffin.
Oh, I couldn't imagine. Out on the docks, a drunk man yells at the water, calling Constantine names and saying he ruined their town. And then the shark below leaps up and eats the man. Mina waves at John and Arthur, But Renfield warns that she belongs to Mr. Constantine. And they all think the town is weird, since no one is allowed out after dark. We cut to Dracula in the basement of the inn as he tells the chained woman that she's going to be a sacrifice. He, Renfield, and some cultists lead the woman through town as John and Arthur watch in confusion. They sacrifice her to the shark in the ocean. John and Arthur wonder why there's an altar on the beach. Could it be for virgin sacrifices?
More or less.
Usually what you think of, right?
Yeah.
Mina warns John that he should leave town as soon as he can, and he sees glowing red eyes in the water.
Sharkuda.
We cut to Renfield, and we see just how weird he is. Constantine has Renfield invite John and Arthur for dinner, and he tells them how the town works, and it all makes sense to them now. He warns them to never open the crates that they're unloading. Reggie and his girlfriend were driving through town, and their car breaks down. He sees the red glowing eyes in the water, and it eats him. Then it pulls his girlfriend out of the car. John thinks Constantine is crazy, but Arthur thinks they should just go with it. Of course, they find a Dracula comic book in the nightstand where the Bible usually is.
Of course.
Of course. Constantine warns Mina to behave, and she casts aspersions on Renfield, sowing some discord. John watches Constantine arguing with Renfield later, but he only sees Renfield in the mirror.
Nice.
John then sneaks outside and sees cultists roaming the streets. John finds Reggie's girlfriend chained in the basement, and she says Dracula did this to her. She's a vampire now. And she's listed in the credits as Reggie's girlfriend. We never do know what her name is.
Reggie's girlfriend.
You are herefore known as Reggie's
girlfriend.
Reggie's been dead for 8 scenes, but you are the girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
Then Renfield stabs him in the heart with a machete. Well, in the morning, Arthur can't find John anywhere. He does, however, see the red-eyed shark in the water. He then assaults Renfield. Mina grabs him and tells him to hide. She explains that Mr. Constantine is really Dracula.
No.
Dracula feeds Renfield to the vampire in the basement. Mina says she can't leave town, but then Dracula shows up and tells Arthur to do as he says. Dracula needs Mina and Arthur's help to get rid of the beast that he's been forced to serve for so many years.
Yeah, I guess because the shark bit him, the shark became the alpha.
Yeah.
And Dracula is trapped there.
He's tired of being tied to this little town and that one shark. He can't leave town either.
Mm-hmm.
Elsewhere, the cultists say the shark needs another sacrifice. Dracula has a plan to do a fake sacrifice of Mina, and Arthur will need to stab Sharkula at the right time. Dracula says he can deal with the cultists. Well, the sacrifice proceeds, and Sharkula comes out of the water to eat Mina. John stabs the creature several times, and Dracula gloats to the shark. I've beaten you, ha-ha.
Ha-ha-ha.
The shark, which isn't dead, bites Dracula's hand before bursting into flame.
Yeah, that'll grow back.
Yeah, probably. Dracula still wants Mina, but something's wrong. He screams in pain and kills the cultists. Dracula is being changed by the shark bite. Arthur does some house cleaning in Dracula's basement. Mina and Arthur talk about Dracula's control, and maybe she has more control over him than she thinks. They confront Dracula, and she tells Dracula that he needs to obey her. He cannot resist. Suddenly, John jumps up and kills Dracula with a cross. Dracula and Sharkula are really dead, right?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll never see them again in any
So the
movie.
shark bite was supposed to do something to Dracula, but I didn't see what it did.
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's made by the same indie filmmakers who did Sharkenstein. In some ways it's better, and in some it's worse. The shark itself has bat wings which can fly, which is kind of a neat idea, but it doesn't really look that good. It's a pretty well-written story. I mean, on paper, it's a good script, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that really holds it back here are the terrible actors.
And the low budget.
We always read the IMDb trivia for these things. It says they got the name of Arkham for the town from Batman. Completely ignoring Lovecraft. Whoever wrote that trivia.
Arkham
Didn't
in
start
Batman
with Batman.
came from Lovecraft. Yeah.
Yes. And of course, of all the Dracula shark movie hybrids out there, this is probably the best.
Well, it's the only one I've seen so far.
I should probably point out that everything we've seen this week was on Tubi.
Yes, they are.
Kevin was traveling, and this was the only way we had to see movies together at different places at different times.
Tubi is amazing.
I like Tubi. They got all kinds of good stuff.
They
They got all kinds of stuff. I won't say it's all good.
They do throw in some commercials, But yeah, if you want to
It's
watch
free.
movies,
Yeah,
it's
it's-
free. Yeah, great app. I watched it on my iPad, and they do have a lot of good stuff. It's not all just low budget things like this.
Oh yeah, they got good movies too.
They do, yeah, movies you've heard of, and yeah.
All right, now for my favorite of the week.
Okay,
This was my favorite.
Okay.
It's kind of awful too, but Shark Side of the Moon 2022, a Tubi original.
mm-hmm.
Directed by Glenn Campbell and Tammy Klein. Written by Ryan Ebert and Anna Rasmussen. Stars Maxie Wittrak, Ego Mikitas, Michael Marcel, and Tanya Rex. Hour and 28 minutes. Trailer in the show notes.
And it seems like they crammed a lot into an hour and 28 minutes. Seems like it moves briskly and
it's a
fits
very
lot
active movie.
Yeah. There's no real draggy slow points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they took a wild premise, sharks on the moon, and made it into a passable movie, so hats off to them. Oh, this sounds like Kevin was not thrilled.
Well, it was okay.
This one is way out there with some really bad science. Oh, that's true. And it has a decent science fiction story, and it was entertaining overall.
Yeah, overall, I was pleased.
It takes place on the moon, and so there's spaceships and astronauts. It's a sci-fi movie.
And it's futuristic-y. The technology is ahead of where we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the ships and so forth.
Yeah, just
Activity on the moon,
do not
but-
even try to pretend to figure the science on this one.
Yeah, because
I like how the sharks can move around under the ground with their fins hanging up.
well, and they're walking around the moon with just a little oxygen in their nose.
Yeah, that too.
You're walking around on the surface of the moon with.
Oh, but they explain that. That makes perfect scientific sense.
Yeah,
Uh-huh,
yeah. It is the future after all.
And the ending, I watched the ending 3 times, and it still made no damn sense.
Yeah, that's that was something.
All right, well, what happens?
Well, we're told in 1984 Americans went into space in their shuttles, but at a secret lab in Moscow, scientists feed their subjects in a tank. Their subjects are smart, and they talk to each other. They're smarter than expected. Well, suddenly the electric fence goes down, and we see they've been developing humanoid shark monsters.
These are like man-shaped sharks.
Uh-huh.
Clearly they're sharks, but they got arms and legs and walk around.
Yeah. The scientists activate a lockdown, but it's hard to escape the land sharks. If they get into the ocean, they'll be unstoppable, one of them cries. So a pair of scientists run on their own to their experimental space shuttle.
Because you'd have one of those right outside the shark growing facility.
Of course, yeah, it's a multi-purpose facility. Well, the monsters are chasing them and follow them inside, and they launch the ship, taking the shark monsters along with them off of Earth. And credits roll.
All right, that's how the sharks got to the moon.
Yeah. Well, in the present day, which is really the future, there's a moon launch scheduled by the Americans. One of the crew gets sick, and Michael, an alternate astronaut, is assigned to the mission. And they're all kind of they know Michael, and I get the impression that he and the captain probably had a romance at one time, and there's a history of these people.
But it doesn't go anywhere.
No, it never does.
Yeah, none of that matters.
Yeah, Commander Tress doesn't much like Michael, but they can't reschedule the launch because they got a limited window, so they're going to go for it. Well, there's some kind of electromagnetic disturbance that cuts off radio contact from Earth. Something goes wrong, and they find themselves off course toward the far side of the moon.
No, not there.
And of all the odds, I mean, space is big, and the moon is fairly big. It's not as big as Earth, of course, but, there's all this
big.
orbital space. They're saying, well, there's this satellite on the that's over the far side, and we'll be fine. We can use that to, that'll communicate back with Earth. On the way of crashing, they hit the satellite. Now, what are the odds of that happening? But it happens, so they crash land on the surface. And there's no satellite, so there's no way to communicate with Earth. Well, they all check out the ship. They can hold out for months, but they can't take off unless they get parts. Well, there is a broken rover and some other probes and things nearby. There's about a mile walk away. So 4 of the astronauts, they suit up and they go out for a walk. They're the first people to set foot on the far side of the moon, or so they think.
At least they don't call it the dark side of the moon.
No, they've evolved beyond that, yeah. They check out the rover, but then Liam gets a bloody nose, and because he hit his head during the crash, but he's probably going to be okay. something comes toward them under the surface, making ripples underground. And then they see shark fins. Why are there sharks on the moon?
Well, they smelled the blood.
Yeah. Well, one of the sharks dies in a booby trap, and the Americans find a Russian walking around, breathing without a helmet on. He's the one who killed the shark. He thinks the Americans have been sent to rescue him. It's been 40 years after all. Sergei is the scientist who survived the first trip, and Akula is his adopted daughter, but she's odd. Sergei leads the group to his base.
Yeah, he's got this like breathing nose thing,
And she doesn't have anything at all.
No, she's just walking around on the moon.
Yeah. And he is one of the scientists in the opening scene,
Yeah.
one of the two that took off with the sharks. Henry is taken captive by the Sharkmen to Shark City, and they all speak Russian. And they want his ship to transport themselves and their eggs back to Earth. Zarina, a shark woman, comes to talk to Henry. At Sergei's ship, Akula admits that she's one of the shark people, but she's a good one. She's one of the children, and she's sided with the humans. She developed a suit that makes them invisible to the sharks, and Sergei's got a way to make oxygen. And he explains about the Cold War shark hybrids and all the science behind this.
Science.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, back at the American ship, Ellie and Owen decide to go go looking for their missing crewmates.
The sharks home in on radio signals, so nobody can talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, they soon find Liam's arm, and when they radio the ship, the sharks home in on the signal. The humans don't live long after that. The shark man Scar bites off Henry's foot at Serena's command, then cauterizes it. She wants to know where his ship is. She says that she's the ruler of the hybrid sharks. Well, Sergei explains that there were only a dozen or so sharks originally, and they don't know how many there are now. The sharks' goal is to get their eggs back on Earth, where they can really reproduce, and the sharks can live in any environment, including the moon. The humans walk to Shark City as they make plans to break into the prison for Henry. Tom, back at the American ship, computes a launch to return to Earth. But he tells Commander Tress on the radio, which the sharks trace, and get back to him.
That's what they want. They want the ship.
Yep. Well, in Shark City, Tress and the humans find Henry, and she's a really good captain. I liked her character. She's a very effective commander. Yeah. Well, he tells them that the sharks only want their ship. And they find the shark incubation room, where they have a discussion about killing all the shark babies. Akula and Serena have a talk. Akula has always been an outcast, but Serena makes a tempting offer.
Join me.
Mm-hmm. The sharks attack the American ship, defended now only by Josie and Tom. Tress, Michael, Henry, Sergei, and Akula arrive to join them. A whole bunch of sharks, too many to fight, surround the ship. Henry wants to lead the sharks away from the ship while the others escape, and he does manage to distract them for a few minutes while the others get ready to launch. Serena and the others show up outside, and they all get ready for a battle. And there's lots of running around doing things in the ship. Both Josie and Tom are killed. It looks bad, so Tress, she surrenders to the shark, Serena. Serena says that Akula taught them how to fly a ship. Well, Akula denies being a traitor. She's loyal to the humans. Tress offers to bring the sharks supplies. The humans could help the sharks thrive and live on the moon. But Serena isn't interested in that. She wants to go back to Earth with her eggs. She goes to the cockpit and launches the ship with her eggs on board. All the humans jump out of the ship as it launches. They make their way to Sergei's ship, which can take off using Tom's flight plan. Akula and Serena jump out of the ship. Serena is not killed, but she does have brain damage.
Did we see Serena again?
I don't
believe
we
they
did.
specifically mentioned brain damage. She's not dead, but we don't see her
But
again.
we never saw her again, and the eggs got blown up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But they can make more. There's still lots of sharks there. Sergei comes up with a plan.
Oh, the eggs didn't blow up. The ship's still there.
Oh, the ship was still
Yeah,
there.
it's
Okay.
floating around.
Oh, okay. All right.
It blows up later.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, Sergei comes up with a plan to crash his ship into the magma under the surface of the moon, creating tidal waves of lava that will wipe out the sharks. And them, unfortunately.
Science.
Because the moon has that much active lava just below the surface. Yeah. He says goodbye to Acula and the others. Acula, Tress, and Michael go outside to battle sharks with spears as Sergei does his thing on the ship. Sergei crashes the shuttle into Shark City, and the lava explodes everywhere. It even reaches the American ship, which crashes into the lava. There it goes. There's the eggs. And all the sharks, and yeah. Well, somehow...
Things go boom.
Something explodes with enough force to take the 3 humans back to Earth. Yeah.
I watched this part 3 times, and I never understood how what went on here.
It's like an escape pod or something, or
they wind up in the
ship.
oceans of Earth with an inflatable escape boat.
Yeah.
Which would have been on the American ship that blew up in the first place.
Right.
The American ship blew up. Sergei's ship blew up. Where did this boat come from?
I don't know.
How did they survive the trip through the atmosphere?
We don't know. Well, it was encapsulated in lava, and the lava burned off as they re-entered, and then they landed in the ocean and they were fine.
What?
But yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Tress, Michael, and Acula launch a rubber inflatable boat and talk about how lucky they are. Acula starts screaming in pain, though. She's pregnant and giving birth to a shark hybrid baby. Well, she then jumps overboard and she's spitting out a whole bunch of babies. We see them floating all around the raft. Now there are human hybrid sharks in the ocean of Earth.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. But maybe they'll be good sharks because Acula's a good person.
Well, early on, even before they launched the spaceship, somebody mentions lava on the far side of the moon.
And we were thinking, that's Chekhov's lava.
That's got to be going somewhere, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, this 2022 CGI is obviously CGI, but it's not awful. It's better than the other movies. I like how they made up a way to lose their helmets on spacesuits. It's a silly thing, but it allows for better interaction between the characters.
Yeah, to be able to walk around without spacesuits.
Yeah.
And actually, the practical effects were decent in this, too. Lots of practical sets and
the
science
sharks are
stuff.
obviously CGI, but it's all well done.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And how is it that the ships were so heavily damaged but could take off? Doubly more for Sergei's ship. He'd been there for 40 years.
Plot.
And he takes it off and flies it to the base.
The power of plot.
How did the final survivors get back to Earth?
Well, and also it was a space shuttle, too, which take off, with booster rockets. It was laying flat on the moon's surface.
Uh-huh.
Shuttles don't take off like that.
That's true, yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot here that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But it's mostly saved just by the ridiculous concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was watchable and entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite, Shark Side of the Moon.
Okay.
Your favorite?
Sharktopus versus Pteracuda.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are differing on the shark movies.
Yeah.
They're all awful in their own ways.
They are, but we were entertained.
All right, well, tune in next week where we get off the sharks and back to a normal variety of new and old movies. We got a bunch of weird stuff for you next time.
We do a mishmash of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And until then, I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.